I started to get like okay at these introductions, and now I'm just sitting here like, oh, how do I do it again? Hi! It's me again! Yay! Yeah, nailed it. It's been a while, sorry about that, but today's video, well, the reason for this video is because as of the 17th of February, I have been 1 year post-op, which is crazy and amazing, and I'm lost for words as to how I feel about that. But currently today I would have been wanting to go home after my second operation. I think it would have been today actually. Today last year that I finally got discharged from hospital and was so excited to come home. Yeah, so basically I've never really talked about my hospital experience in detail. After surgery, after I think about a couple of months, I wrote a blog because I started blogs, but then I only did like 2. But anyway, I wrote one about my hospital experience. I think it's like 5,000 words, but today I'm just going to read it out to you guys. Yeah, I hope it just gives an insight to my hospital experience, which is different to everyone's, as I say every video. But yeah, I'm super duper happy at the moment that I'm 1 year post-op, and I just wanted to share this with you. I'm not sugarcoating it or anything like that. So if you're getting this surgery, don't be scared by what I have written. Everyone's experience is different, and I don't regret it. So might as well get started. Laptop. Okay, this was a blog, so it's going to be written in blog form as well. Okay, so I've known from the beginning of this I wanted a way to remember my journey. For some unknown reason, I have not already written about my hospital experience. I've been wanting to do it for ages now. I even started not long after I got home but couldn't write anymore. I tried the good old pen and paper because of pain. So why haven't I already? I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I don't know where to start. Maybe I'm scared of reliving everything again. The emotion is still raw, and I'll probably have to stop and start many times during writing all of this. I'm 2 months and a week post-op now, so I probably have forgotten quite a few things, but this is what I remember, also mixed in with things I've been told by family or friends. So I guess the best place to start is the beginning. I was being admitted into hospital on Monday 16th February 2015 at 3 p.m. to be operated on the next day, and if all went to plan, I'd be discharged the following Tuesday. Up until this time, I had started to get a bit nervous. I was really excited, but it was becoming very real, and so there were a few times I'd have a little panic attack thinking about it, which I felt was totally normal considering what I was about to embark on. Anyways, I packed a few things in my little bag I'd need for the night. No point packing other clothes and whatnot because Mum was taking it all home with her anyway whilst I was in ICU. Well, besides my toiletries, I think. With my brother-in-law, brother and Mum, we drove in, and because we're such punctual people, okay, so maybe Mum and I were a bit nervous, we got there an hour early. So we sat in a cafe near the hospital, and my little support group got milkshakes, and I drank water because I didn't want to throw up. My nerves had increased with the car trip there. Time came and went, and then it was time to be admitted into hospital. Signed a few things and then went to my room. I was happy I had a room to myself, and it hardly even felt like a hospital room, more like a tiny hotel room. A nurse came in and told me that throughout the course of the afternoon I would be seeing my physiotherapist and someone would come to do a couple of blood tests, and then at some point my surgeon will come in to see me, which was important as I had to remind him of my decision about getting the 2 surgeries if I could not be corrected well enough. They also told me I'd be told what time my surgery was the next day. I didn't have a pre-op appointment a couple weeks prior to this, like I've heard many have, so what happened that afternoon was my pre-op. Basically, my physios came in and explained everything that would happen after surgery, including all the wonderful things that would be stuck in me, aka IV lines, etc., and also tested my lung capacity by making me blow into and suck in on these machine things. The vampires also came to take my blood. Needles have never bothered me, so that was fine too, and my height and weight was taken. Whilst all this was happening, my sister joined my little support group. My nerves had basically evaporated once I got into my room, and it was really great having my family there to distract me as well. I had also forgotten to bring something from home to comfort me, so when my mum and my sister went to go to the bathroom, they came back with a really soft and cuddly stuffed hippo. I named him Alfred, and he was a great companion for the next 2 weeks. I was told my surgery is going to be around 12 p.m, I think, so I'd have to start fasting at 12 a.m. I was somewhat dreading having a hospital dinner, as I'd heard nothing but bad things about hospital food. It was meat and veggies, and I actually really enjoyed it. Ha ha. Visiting hours ended at 8 p.m, so when it rolled around to 8 p.m, I said goodbye to my family, knowing I'd see them in the morning, and was left with Alfred and watched TV and was on my phone. I think I was a little nervous, but mainly I was just calm and excited about the fact that the next day I'd have a straight spine. A nurse came in to check on me, told me she'd wake me in the morning and that I couldn't have breakfast because I was fasting, and that I'd need to shower in the special antiseptic stuff and then would be taken away for surgery. Taken in for surgery, not taken away. That sounds, yeah. My surgeon also came in at some point and we had a little chat. If you haven't read my last post, the plan was to have one surgery through the back in the hopes that a good correction would be achievable. I decided if he couldn't get it down to less than 30 degrees, I wanted the second surgery to have a better correction. I slept, woke up, family came again, mum and brother and sister. I showered, put my hair in 2 braids, took some photos to document, including standing next to my family and see the difference once I grew, and then it was a matter of waiting. They said they'd come in around 11:30 a.m. to take me. I wasn't nervous at all. I was happy and bubbly and, to be honest, a little hungry. Okay, I was getting pretty hungry. They finally came in to take me and off we went. My brother and sister said goodbye and wished me luck and mum put the little gown and hat on to come with me before I was put under anaesthetic. For the life of me, I cannot remember what the room is referred to, but either way, the room they take you in to wait before going into the operating theatre. Yep. Whilst we were waiting for everything to get ready, I could tell how nervous my mum was as she held my hand. I had to do something, so I started singing to her to try to cheer her up. My anesthetist, yeah, nice. The guy who puts the anesthetic in you. Then started by giving me something to calm me. Then I remember being wheeled into the operation theatre where I said bye to mum, and then I was out to it. This is where everything gets a bit blurry. I woke up in ICU. I was in pain, but it was okay. Well, I sit here 2 months later and say that, but from what I remember, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I think it was my mum and sister who came in first, or maybe they were there when I woke up. Either way, the first thing I said to my mum was, "Mum, am I straight?" To which my mother said she wasn't sure and that the surgeon would speak to me soon. She later told me how incredibly heartbreaking it was to not be able to answer yes to that question. I was a bit confused as to why she didn't know, but I was too drugged up to question it. I talked to my family a bit. When they asked me how I felt, I answered that I had gotten into a fight with a grizzly bear. I also kept asking everyone what their favourite song was and was singing to them. Drugs. The first night was the longest. I asked my overnight nurse if she knew if I was straight, and she also said the surgeon will talk to me in the morning. I was really thirsty and I was only allowed to suck on crushed ice, and I'm one of those people who hates having anything on my eyes, and when you have the surgery they put Vaseline or something on them, and it was so thick and my vision was blurry, probably from the medication as well, so my nurse helped wipe my eyes because I couldn't really do it. I kept waking up probably every hour, and when it felt to be at least 6 a.m, I asked the time and it was only 2 a.m. I'm pretty sure I remember trying to have a good old chat with my nurse, asking how she was and how her night was going. She also thought I was 12. Gotta love people thinking you're 12 when you're nearly 20. When it was time for her to finish, she apologised for thinking I was 12 too. But she was lovely, and I think that made all the difference to my experience for my first night. My mum and sister came back in the morning, and again, the first thing I asked my mum was if I was straight. I remember her saying, "Oh, haven't you seen the surgeon yet?" When I replied no, she kind of had no choice but to tell me. She told me how they tried everything they could, but my spine was too stiff, that I had a bunch of spurs on my spine, and it was as if my spine was of a 70-year-old person's. How they put the screws in and would next week take me back into surgery and go through the side as well as the back. I took it pretty well. After all, I always knew it was a possibility, but I guess we'd just been really hoping it would be the one, and that I'd only have to go through it once, and not long after, I started to cry. I feel like I'm reading a kid's story with a bad twist. To make me feel better though, my sister passed out. It was a highlight of my hospital experience, once I knew she was okay, of course. She was standing by my bed with my mum, and they were just talking to me, and I saw my sister kind of look like blankly at me, and I was like, Bella, are you okay? And then she started to sway a little towards me, and I was like, oh hell no, that ain't happening after having back surgery. So I was like, Mum, look at Belle. And then Mum attempted to catch her, but she went to the ground, and Mum was like, can I have some help? And then the nurses found her and helped her. I'm her sister, so I'm allowed to find her funny. I also left ICU that day and went to my own room. Usually they get you up walking the first few days, but I was told because I didn't have the rods that I wasn't able to get up until Sunday. I was operated on the Tuesday. My physio came around twice every day to help me with my breathing and telling me I had to move around my feet and move my legs to avoid clots and such. My family visited numerous times, and some of my most wonderful friends came to visit on the weekend. Thanks, friends. It really helped having visitors, even if I wasn't able to talk much or follow the conversation. It was nice just listening to them and having them there. It distracted me from the pain I was experiencing. As the week progressed and I didn't physically, mentally I started to go down. The pain was really bad, and I wasn't getting up and recovering. I was on bed rest. I didn't have an appetite, and I was taking a lot of medication that was doing bad things to my stomach that caused a lot of pain and frustration. I was upset that I'd have to do it all again the next week, and I was scared that I would still not progress as I hadn't all that week. I was supposed to get the catheter out, I think, like 4 days after surgery. To be honest, I just guessed that number, but sometime around then. But the thing was, I couldn't get up to go to the toilet, so I had to try get on a bedpan and go. It just didn't happen. They were supposed to leave it out for at least 8 hours, and if nothing happened, then they'd put it back in. But I felt I needed to pee, and the fact I couldn't, and the pain of needing to pee, along with the pain in my back, was very distressing. They needed to see if my bladder was actually full, so they did a mini ultrasound, and sure enough, my bladder was very full, so they put it back in until my next surgery. Whilst I was awake. That's all. I also at some point got sick and projectile vomited to the end of my bed, just missing my brother and mum. I did try to vomit in the bag, however my neck wouldn't bend enough, and my back didn't at all, which is the usual body reaction. It was either the same day or the next day. I had to drink some sort of medication thing. It was gross. I hate anything that I have to drink. Anyway, my brother came in with a toasty for himself, and when I caught a smell of it, well, I threw what I had just drank up, including my painkillers I'd also just taken. Besides that, I don't think I was sick. I think I ended up standing on the Saturday. My surgeon said that if I could stand up, it might loosen my spine and whatnot, and I was more than willing to try. Laying in bed constantly is not great. And although I cannot remember the pain, I remember how hard it was to actually sit up. I didn't have the support of the rods in my back. My spine had practically been broken and metal screws had been put in there, and I was attempting to stand. I was so super proud of myself that I sat up, and even more when I got to standing, and I marched on the spot for 10 minutes. I stood up a couple of times after that. One of those times I did not think I was able to do it. It hurt so much, and I was so upset. But my physio was really supportive, and the fact that she believed I could do it, I guess, helped me feel like I could. So I pushed through the pain and stood up again. The next time was a little easier, and I walked to the door and back again. This was encouraging and made me feel a bit better about the whole thing. I remember one of the nights being really bad, like the pain was unbearable and I got no sleep. The next one was just as bad, and I really didn't calm down until my family got there. I cannot stress enough how much their being there for me helped. I will never forget it. So they wanted me to open my bowels before I had my second surgery. The problem was that I couldn't get up to go to the toilet. I was on a lot of medication that constipated me, and I was also not eating enough to actually have anything to form. So they gave me a bunch of other medication to try help me, but due to my not eating much, nothing was really there to come out. It just made for a lot of gas in my stomach that would not pass. So my stomach looked like I was pregnant, and I was in a lot of pain. On Monday they gave me an enema, and then the other big gel one, and my bowels opened a tiny bit. It was just impossible. I've heard a lot of people having the same nurses throughout their hospital stay, but I had a different nurse every day and every night. In the 2 weeks I was there, I had some of the nurses a few times. My hair was dirty and knotted and falling out at braids, and one of the nurses decided she was going to wash my hair. I was a little confused as I was in bed and couldn't shower, but she came back with a shower cap, took out my hair and put it on, massaged it into my hair, and when she took it off, my hair was wet and clean. To this day, I still want to know where I can buy them. Haha. She brushed my hair as well, attempting to get the massive knots out of the back of my hair. Didn't really work, but I felt so much better afterwards. My nurse didn't have to do all of that for me, but the extra care she gave me really helped me. Another nurse came in to plait my hair that night as well for my upcoming surgery. Monday night came. I was told I was the first surgery in the morning, so at 7:30 a.m. I started to get really scared and I didn't want my mum to leave. I was really upset, so they were allowed to stay a little later than visiting hours. They promised to come in the morning though, so they got home really late and came back at like 6:30 a.m. So we were back where we were the week before. My mum, sister and brother waited with me until they came to take me from my room. I had a chat with them a few weeks after surgery, and apparently the difference this time compared to the week before was massive. I wasn't my happy, cheery self. I was tired and I was scared. Mum put the gown and hat thing on again, and instead of me singing to her this time, I cried. I don't really remember being put under anaesthetic the second time, but that happened. So this time, I woke up before I was taken into ICU in excruciating pain in my back, but also around my shoulder blade. I don't think I yelled, but I was very distressed. I remember someone asking me what my pain was out of 10. I could hardly answer, and when 10 didn't seem enough, we measured it at 15 out of 10. The worst pain I have ever experienced. I'm pretty sure it was one of the nurses. She put her hand under my shoulder and it relieved some of the pain from it. I must have passed out at this point because I woke up again in ICU. I was in a little less pain, but still in a lot of pain, more than I was the first time. I also had a chest drain in my side, and that was adding to the pain. My brother is studying physiotherapy. Well, he's actually a physiotherapist now. And he sat with his hand under my shoulder the whole time he was there. My muscle was spasming, and by the time my brother left, it was still hurting, but wasn't as bad. They asked if I got in another fight with a grizzly bear, and I said, yeah, he effed me up. Something neither of my siblings were expecting me to say, but it was very abrupt. Classic Amy. Visiting hours ended and Mum had to go, but my other brother ended up staying a little longer. I was in a lot of pain, and I was honestly questioning how I'd even get through the night. So my brother sat with me and talked to me. I can't remember everything he said, but I know that what he said really helped me calm down and to believe I had the strength in me to get through this. He helped me that night more than he'll probably ever realize. I was in ICU for about 3 days. I had a chest x-ray in bed again, where the guy who lifted me enough to put the metal slab behind me told me I was super stiff. So after that I began to lift my arms when I could to try to loosen myself a bit. It proved to be a little difficult as I was attached to a bunch of machines that had things sticking out of me left, right and centre. I got a few odd looks when doing this from one of the nurses. I slowly started to eat. I was on a liquid diet, but I wanted real food, so my nurse was super great and got me a sandwich. For the first day or two, I had a chest drain in my side. It was rather uncomfortable, and when my physio came around every day, I had to cough, and it was really painful. It was more painful to do everything with the chest drain in, actually. One night, I think they had moved me to change my sheets or something, I'm not sure. But I became very distressed because I was in a lot of pain, and basically the nurse told me that if I didn't calm down and breathe properly, my lung would collapse and I'd have a whole lot of new pain and problems. So I focused on my breathing and calmed myself. There was another day that I was just really upset, all day. I couldn't stop crying and I'm not sure why. I think I was just overwhelmed and in pain and whatnot. My physio came every day, was absolutely gorgeous. When she saw I was upset, she was super caring and talked to me about Disney, one of our common interests. She's another person who helped me through my 2 weeks in hospital. I was her first scoliosis patient and she really cared and was so supportive and happy when I started to make a recovery. A nurse had also seen me crying whilst walking past and sat with me for a little bit to cheer me up. There were many beautiful nurses, but I also had a couple that were pretty crap. Well, more you can tell who cares and who doesn't. I think a couple thought I was younger than I actually was, and with that they didn't think I knew what my body needed or something. But that's one of the most important things I learned, that you know your body better than anyone else. You know what you need and when you need it. As the days went on, I got the chest drain taken out and a few other bits and pieces, and I started to feel a bit better, especially with the chest drain out. I could move without wincing in pain every time I tried. I had a bit of phlegm caught in my throat, and because of the operation and the need to get my lungs working normally again, I need to get it out to make sure it didn't reach my lungs. But it wouldn't budge, so I had 2 nebulizers to help dislodge it. The thing that they like put over your mouth and your nose and just steam like blows in. I hated it. But, you know. Yeah, but coughing couldn't get rid of the phlegm that was there, and it was really irritating. I got cleared to go to my room finally. Hurrah! And off I went. I think this was on the Thursday. They took the catheter out and then I got to sit up and go to the bathroom. I felt a little rushed the first time because they needed my bed. They'd wheeled me to my room on the ICU bed and needed it back in ICU. It was hard but easier than when I didn't have the rods. I went to the toilet, which was actually really hard because I had not gone myself for a week and a half, so the nurse turned the tap on and eventually, to much relief, was able to pee. And I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic feeling. I feel like I hadn't peed in forever. When I went back to bed, I tried to put the bed up to where I was half sitting because it was most comfortable, but there was something wrong with the bed and it wouldn't go completely up, and I became very distressed because it was causing pain. So I told the nurse and they had to swap my bed, which was a lot because I had only just stood up for the first time not that long ago, and then I was being rushed to do it again, and it was very painful and distressing, but after crying for a bit I calmed down. The next day my Pilates instructor came to visit me with magazines, a bunch of coloured roses and a bunch of chocolate flower things. That was super nice. She's helped me for the past year and has always been very caring and interested in my case. She witnessed me standing and walking around too, which was cool. Throughout the week my family kept coming to visit me, which was really great. A few more friends came that week along with the ones that had already come the week before. Second visits. Cute. I'd also started not wearing normal clothes again, which was a great feeling. I was up and walking, which made me feel so much better. I got rid of the frame I was using and could walk to the toilet with only the help of my nurse. And then I started to go by myself without needing to call for help, which was even better. I made a very big improvement over a few days. Although one of the nights I remember was very bad pain-wise and there was no other medication they could give me. And I was pressing my button too often, like the little button that you press. But I had another wonderful nurse who calmed me down. On the Sunday, I think I sat in the high back chair for the first time, and it was difficult, but I did it. I had been starting to get quite upset when Jake arrived. My boyfriend. Jake arrived, but having him there with him holding my hand really helped me, and by the end of the night when he left, I was in a much better... Oh, this is gross. Who am I? No, I also stood up next to all my family that week. When I started going into the bathroom by myself, I was like, Mum, can I hug you? And honestly, that made me so happy. Being able to finally hug my mum, even though it was a very, very, very gentle hug. When the rest of my family came that day, I also hugged them. In the past week and a half, or however long they'd been by my bedside, and it was really great staying next to them rather than laying down in bed. We also discovered I'd grown taller than my sister, and she wasn't too happy about. The Monday was a really good day. It was the first day I began to feel like me again, and the change I had made in a couple of days was amazing. Even the nurse commented on how much I'd progressed in a day. I was supposed to go home on the Tuesday, but first I needed to release my bowels. All week I'd been taking things to make me go, but nothing had worked yet. But Tuesday night they gave me an enema, a liquid thing, and tablets, and finally once my family had left for the night, I went. It was great, not going to lie. Mum came in the morning. I finally got to shower after they clipped the stitch off my back, so it was just the bit that was hanging out. It was hard, but there was a chair in there, and I even washed my hair, which was a big task, but it made me feel so much better. I wasn't doing as well on the Tuesday as I was on the Monday. I was very tired, but that was probably because of the good spirits and all I'd done the day before. My surgeon came and saw me and was super happy with how I was progressing, which meant I got to leave. And we finally did at like 2 p.m. or something like that. I was nervous about going home because at home there wasn't a bunch of medical staff and a bed that moved up and down as I pleased and stuff, but I was also really excited. When I went to get into the car, I realized I couldn't. Not only had I grown quite a bit, I couldn't bend my neck or back. We were worried for a moment that there, but I ended up figuring it out, and then I was on my way home. The drive wasn't actually too bad. Like, I thought it could be worse. It hurt, but it wasn't unbearable sort of thing. We got Macca's too. Whoops. We arrived home, and as I got out of the car I became overwhelmed and somewhat cried. I can't explain it, but the feeling of being home, knowing the last 2 weeks I'd spent in hospital were behind me, it was great. Everything felt different, though when I went inside I was taller and everything seemed much shorter. But it really was great to be home. And that's my story. Sorry that was a little bit incoherent sometimes. But yeah, I'm 1 year post-op and I'm incredibly happy with my decision to get the surgery. I have no regrets whatsoever, and I am doing really well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that wasn't really boring, but I felt like I wanted to tell you in detail. Thank you so much for supporting me the past year and however long. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Like this video if you liked it, I guess, and subscribe, and I might make some more videos. I have a few ideas that I really want to do. Thanks guys. Bye!